Good evening and welcome to Fleetway's Roundup with your boy Darius back at it again for another week and another day of getting some news to you guys. And hey, I mean, it feels like every time we come back onto this show, it's like, man, it feels like it's been like so long. But it's like I don't know. On one hand, it's like been a week, and it's you just sit there being like, oh, well, it's only been a week. But then at the other time, there's just this moment of, well, it's been kind of long. So again, I keep enjoying just coming on here, be able to talk news with you guys and make sure that you guys are up to date as far as when it comes to sports and movies, video games. Today, we're not going to really be talking about any video game news as it's been kind of quiet. The most there's been is just some Fortnite stuff, which I'm like, that's not enough to really warrant a whole section of for video game talk. So today we're only going to just be talking about some movies and some sports news. And there's some news. I mean, we got some casting for the Miami Vice remake movie. We got a new clip for Coyote versus Acme that we're going to break down. We do have some sad news of another actor passing away that we'll share as well. We have some news as far as some more injuries that have been shared with us involving some teams and and some players in the offseason, as well as getting talk about some signings like a certain edge rusher who has now signed with a new team. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the highlighters from some of the players who stood out to me watching some of those preseason games from week 1, as well as talking about some slight drama going on with my Packers team. And no, for anybody that doesn't like my Packers, it's not news that's going to be a detriment to us. It's just news that is leading to maybe a tough decision may have to come from this team, but we'll have to see. But we're going to go and get things started here, talk about the movie side, and to start us off, we're going to discuss about Ep.1 of the new Lantern show. We've talked about this show before on here. We showed off the trailer, talked about the vibes I was getting from it and what I thought. And I thought overall from the trailers I was seeing, like, okay, this looks like this could be a pretty solid TV show here, and especially being another new project in the James Gunn DC universe. A universe that has definitely been getting some flack recently, and I'm not even saying it's not justified because we already talked about Supergirl and their problems they had where Warner Brothers accidentally let it get seen by people that they were utilizing generative AI for their concept art, which that had everybody starting to be like, whoa, so you guys are using AI? Like, are you serious? So yeah, the DCU has been under some fire, but Lanterns was coming out and Ep.1 is released and everybody is raving about it. As you can see here, Rotten Tomatoes has it at 95%, has it at 95% critically and 88% audience wise. People have been talking pretty highly about this episode, and I just kind of wanted to give a brief little review of the episode because I did get a chance to watch it today. And I have to say, I was impressed. This was a pretty fun show, and I think if we're talking about even just both MCU and DC related like TV content, I think that this is up there in like top 5 shows to watch. That first episode, it does a good job pulling you in. I'm not going to say like every detail because I don't want to go spoiling anything important that for anybody that may be tempted to go and see this series, but this show does a good job at establishing our two characters and Hal Jordan, who at this point is the disgruntled kind of grumpy mentor, and then you got Jon Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre, and Hal Jordan, played by, of course, Kyle Chandler. And then you have Jon Stewart, the guy who's supposed to be coming in to take over for Hal Jordan. And of course, you can tell it's this fun buddy cop duo where like clearly there's this dynamic that's fun to watch with them. And we get three timelines as far as when watching it, where you get, if I'm correct, I think it's I want to say it was 1996. You get 1996 where we get to see basically young Jon Stewart and him watching the TV where we see a young Hal Jordan, and basically around the time in 1996, I guess was around the time where he first introduced, basically makes his presence known to a lot of the human world, that he exists and that he is basically like one of their protectors. And you can see like he's got his suit on, he's more cheerful and everything like that. Um, Poor Jon Stewart. In that first episode, you get it where he gets caught watching the TV, and then his dad takes him outside and basically is like, then has him stand against the wall, hold an apple on top of his head for his dad to shoot it. And then you see like other bullet holes in the wall behind him, showing that they've been doing this before. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, poor Jon Stewart. This man has been through it all as a kid. But yeah, like the show does a good job of building with the characters. You get it's a little bit of an establishment of just kind of seeing the early Hal Jordan as well as the young Jon Stewart. Then we go to 2016, where we now have it where Hal Jordan is supposed to be training Jon Stewart, and we kind of just get more of their dynamic of how that's going. You could see Kyle Chandler. He's giving off this impression of that he's not very like receptive to training Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart is constantly like, no sir, yes sir, very like listen to authority, because that's how he's been raised and trained. While it seems like Hal Jordan is trying, I have my own theories about it, but it feels like Hal Jordan is purposely trying to make Jon Stewart explode in some way, shape, or form with all the stuff he's doing. Like he's purposely trying to be a jerk, and I think they just play off of each other really well. And and this first episode not only does a good job building their relationship, it helps build the mystery around the town. And that ending, I'm not, like I said, no spoilers, but that ending, I was shocked. I was like, whoa, they either go in this route or this is just a fake out. But still, I like that they're not holding back, and they trying to go for something that's going to have people be like, whoa, why would they seriously do that? But I will say this, for anybody that does decide to go and watch this first episode, all I'm going to say is this: the interrogation scene. That is all you need to know from me. The interrogation scene was perfect. The dialogue was fun. The way Hal Jordan is able to interrogate the suspect and stuff, and how he's able to be able to basically make the guy confess that you're right about this and this. It's a fun scene, and then the tension in there, it's all great. So again, I would say episode 1 is so far doing a pretty good job to convince me that this Lantern show is gonna be good. But if you've seen the first episode of Lantern season 1, let me know down below in the chat or comment. What did you think of this first episode? Do you think it was a good episode? Do you think it was okay? Do you think it was bad? Do you think that this is a good start? And yeah, just again, let me know so we can talk about it. But we're going to keep moving on here. Where staying in the DC realm of news, we have some just kind of brief little news involving the Batman Part 2. We know this is the highly anticipated sequel to Matt Reeves' first The Batman that came out. Was that 2023? Oh my goodness. That was 2023, wasn't it? That the first wow. Isn't that crazy to think about that the Batman movie came out in 2023, and we still waited for this movie to come out possibly 2027, or even some people think maybe even 2028. That is insane to think about. It's been that long since the first one, but the wait should be good. I'm excited for this movie. There's even been some reports. One of the actors we talked about that's going to be one of the newcomers for this, Sebastian Stan, the man who plays Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier in the Avengers MCU. He's apparently confirmed in an interview that he will be playing Harvey Dent, which it's definitely leaving a lot of things up in the air, because there's been rumors that he's playing Harvey Dent. There's been rumors that Brian Tyree Henry is going to be playing Harvey Dent. So I'm still staying in that, like, I don't know if I fully trust it, but that seems to be a more official interview. But again, I'm staying like, I don't know for sure. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of keep the expectations a little bit more low. But one of the things that just got reported recently was that Christmas decorations have been spotted on the set of the Batman Part 2. And this kind of just adds more to the theories because when the first logo for the Batman Part 2 was released, it was a bluish hue that had a lot of people thinking, okay, is this Batman movie going to take place during Christmas? Is this a hint towards Mr. Freeze being the villain? Well, it looks like we're getting more confirmation. Even where we saw, if I'm correct, I think Matt Reeves have released a video, a behind the scenes video of oh goodness, what Robert Pattinson in the Batman suit, and you see snow falling down. So I think that we're getting more and more of our confirmation that this movie will be taking place during Christmas or somewhere around that time. And I can't wait to see it because I think anybody who has grown up on Batman movies, you should remember the last time we had a Batman movie that took place in Christmas, we had the Batman Return. We had the Batman Returns with the Michael Keaton movies, and that was a movie that I felt had a lot of stylish flair, especially taking place in the Christmas time. So I can't wait to see how Matt Reeves is able to do it. If he's able to maybe deliver on a Christmas themed Batman, well, a Batman movie taking place during the Christmas time. So again, I can't wait to see how that's going to look like. And I think if anyone can pull it off, I think Matt Reeves can do it. So we'll have to definitely see for sure. Next up here, we had a new cast announcement get shown as for the up and coming remake of Miami Vice. Some of you may remember this is an older series, so for anybody watching that's more on the older, more wiser side, you may have grown up or even remember watching the original Miami Vice series that would come on TV with its 5 seasons. And they're doing another remake movie. There was another remake movie, I think, back in 2012 with Jamie Foxx. I never saw it, so I don't know I can't really give my opinion on how good or bad it was, but we're getting another Miami Vice remake movie where it will be starring Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler as our main two characters. And our new cast member is Whitney Peak, has been cast as Ricardo Tubbs' love interest in Joseph Kosinski's Miami Vice movie. So you see our image there of Whitney Peak. And then, of course, there's the image of Michael B. Jordan, so that's not too important there. But again, so we got a little cast announcement as far as pertaining to that up and coming movie. And I think listen. If there's a movie with Michael B. Jordan, I'm gonna go and see because for the most part, every Michael B. Jordan movie I've seen with him, it's never let me down. I've never been disappointed or felt like I wasted my money. Most times, if he's in a movie, it's a pretty good time. So I definitely will be seeing it, but you let me know down below. Are you going to be seeing this Miami Vice remake movie with Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler, or will you be passing on it? Or and also share, do you have any memories watching the original Miami Vice series? Did you grow up with it? Was it something that you tuned into and was like, hey, this is, yeah, I remember watching a few of those episodes. It was pretty good. It'll be interesting to see how they remake that. So again, we'll have to definitely see how it turns out. Next up here, just kind of a small little, not a big thing, kind of more of on the smaller scale, but we got a poster for apparently the re-release of all 5 Hunger Games movies. And I know I have one viewer that tunes in here who she's been a huge fan of these Hunger Game movies. I remember that person is, of course, my own mother. But when I was growing up and these movies were coming out in theater, like this and Planet of the Apes were like the few two movies that my mom would love going to the theaters to watch. And she's been a fan of both of those franchises. So of course now we got the Hunger Games movies being all re-released in theaters in September. We already know that we do have that new Hunger Games movie that's supposed to be coming out. That's going to be of um I gotta rewatch these movies. I think they were pretty decent. I can't say I didn't read the Hunger Games books all too well to say how much of a good adaptation they are, but I could say that these were, in my opinion, enjoyable movies. So I'll definitely be tuning in to maybe do a rewatch, get familiar, kind of just get familiar with all the characters, especially to get ready for the next Hunger Games movie that's coming out. That's going to be focusing on Woody Harrelson's character. So yeah, I will have to see. Let me know down below. Do you remember watching all the Hunger Games movies? Did you enjoy them? Did you hate them? Were you in the middle of them? Did you enjoy the books more? Let me know. Next up here, as in one of the little things for my announcement sending out, we did get a new clip for Coyote versus Acme. There was another new clip that dropped, but didn't. That one kind of came a while ago, past the show, so didn't get a chance to really talk about it. But we got another clip here showing just kind of a scene of our main lawyer character going to his law firm. Where he works, and basically just kind of, it's nothing big, kind of just a small scene establishing his character as well as kind of just showing how the world works. And again, I see this and I'm like, compared to when we got that Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie that came out, you guys might remember that. It was okay when first watching it, but then when you rewatch it, it's like, it was all right, but nothing special. This movie here feels like there's something special. I'm so sorry. There's something special behind this, and especially something that feels like this really could be a spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So we're going to go and play this clip here. I'm going to keep my camera on.
Good morning.
It's almost 3.
Huh. Good morning, Dottie.
Not now.
Do they have the paperwork to back
Sal?
it up? Hey, kid, you sleep in that suit again?
Good eye.
I've been waiting for you. Hi. I have found some catastrophic fires, coincidentally all near match factories, and I really think it's a great opportunity to help a lot of people with one case.
How long is this internship again?
3 more months, just enough time to really dig in and make a difference.
You know, you really remind me of when I was fresh out of law school, and I mean that in the worst possible way.
And I will take that as a compliment. Oh no, look, you forgot this.
You know, I'm going to do you a favor because you're my niece, and I want you to have a happy life. Stop. Good morning.
It's almost 3.
Okay, so I didn't see, now that's actually kind of interesting there, because when seeing all the other trailers with her character, I didn't know that we were going to find out that they're related. So that's his niece. Okay, so that's an interesting little tidbit to know about what makes their connection a little bit more stronger in this movie to help us out here. But yeah, again, I get, even though it's in that 3D type of style, and of course I more prefer the 2D animation style. I would say, though, it's still overall really good, and most of these characters on their 3D models are moving pretty, I think they move pretty fluently. So, fun little scene that kind of really shows that this is a world kind of similar to Roger Rabbit, where the Toons they're just your everyday people who are working regular jobs, and the humans just treat them no different. They're like, yep, this is my coworker, who maybe has some tendencies of being a little goofy here and there, but other than that, we chill. So yeah, that's just cool. Nice little fun scene there, just to kind of get things established. And again, this movie's coming out August 28th. You know, I've been talking about it. I'm doing my best to try to promote this movie because I'm excited for it. And and from everything I've heard, this sounds like this could be a genuinely good movie for people to experience. So again, nice little clip to drop. Next up here, we got a surprising announcement from an actor, David Krumholtz, who one of his more recent roles was in Oppenheimer. As you can see, this is his character, that he has announced that he is stepping away from acting, where he said exploitative art isn't art, and artists deserve a fair pay percentage for work that assists their employers in making profits. And that's interesting. So how it's being worded, if I didn't know any better, it sounds like a guy who is watching Hollywood kind of deteriorate, as far as I would almost say maybe involving generative AI getting involved and taking people's jobs. And it sounds like he's watching as everything is going so pro AI these days in Hollywood. And he's like, this is ridiculous. Like, these people deserve fair pay and deserve the respect and profits that they are earning rightfully, and you guys are trying to push them out with AI. And it almost feels like he's kind of saying that the reason he's stepping away is because he doesn't want to be a part of this type of Hollywood anymore. And I mean, on one hand, I'm like, if that is the case, because I'm like I said, I'm just kind of really reading into what the quote says, but if that's the case, then hey, that's big that he wants to stand on his beliefs like that, that he feels that Hollywood is going down a path that's becoming too pro AI, and now it feels like feels like it's getting a little too exploitive, and he doesn't want to be a part of that. I mean, I know that's not easy. I mean, because acting, especially when you get into Hollywood and acting, that's normally becomes your big source of revenue and income. And to make a decision like that, to step away, and it isn't stepping away because, oh, I just can't do this anymore, or oh, I'm just retiring. No, like, this sounds like a guy who is stepping away because he's seeing signs that would suggest he needs to get away from it. So again, that a surprising turn of events there, but and I mean he's been good. I even saw a comment here. He played Bernard in the Santa Claus 1 and 2. Hey, who's causing all the trouble around here? Yeah, so that was his character in the Santa Claus 1 and 2 with Tim Allen. So yeah, he's been around in Hollywood for a bit, so it's interesting to see that he's wrapping it up. So hey, I mean, I wish him the best of luck with his future endeavors wherever he goes. And hey, yeah, I mean, I honestly can't blame him or be upset. Like, stand for what you believe in. If you feel like Hollywood is getting to a point where you just can't stand by the decisions that are being made or what's happening in the current economy or atmosphere, then hey, you got to do what you got to do. So again, no complaints, and glad to see that he's standing for what he wants to do. But one thing too, before we do move on to one of our last news here in the movie side, there was one thing I did want to talk about. We did recently, these past couple days, had some announcements because Disney held their D23, where they announced some Star Wars related stuff. They announced some animated related stuff, Pixar, Disney animation, as well as some Marvel related stuff as well. Now, as far as what we kind of just want to do here, I don't want to go too full blown, but they did drop some little teasers of like the new Simpsons movie is what it's being called. So you guys might remember the original Simpsons movie that came out all those years ago. I remember I didn't watch it in theaters, but I do remember when watching it one time on like a replay. I think FX or FXX, where they did a rerun of the original movie, and I remember enjoying it pretty well. And I remember the rumors hearing it years on end that oh yeah, they want to do a sequel to the Simpsons movie, but they just can't figure this out and stuff, and we don't know what's going on. And well, we've been hearing they've been locking in more and more on a sequel, and now they dropped an animatic, which, if you don't know, for the non-animation people, an animatic is normally where it's similar to a storyboard where they have all of the still images drawn of the characters that are like unfinished, but instead it's moving like in an animation style. So they dropped an animatic at D23, as well as released the kind of like logo, calling it the new Simpsons movie. So that was a fun little thing to see over the weekend. They showed an image for The Incredibles 3, where they gave kind of a brief little summary breaking down that the movie is going to focus on the kids, where Violet Dash and Jack Jack are essentially in this movie going to find out that not all heroes are good guys. So that's an interesting take. The one thing I'm a little disappointed is that the kids will not be grown up. They will still be their same age. And I'm like, man, that's one thing I'm never a big fan of, is when you have a franchise that has kid characters and they don't allow those kid characters to grow up, especially if it's a series or a franchise that is clearly story driven and not something like The Simpsons. So that's a sitcom show. It's not the kids aren't supposed to be getting older, but when you get something like The Incredibles, it's like, okay, we've been with them for at least 2 movies now. I think they could be a grown up. Okay, like, there's only so many times you can keep doing a movie where they're kids. But again, excited for another Incredibles movie. I do love that franchise. We did get a little teaser for the live action Lilo and Stitch 2 movie, where you see the logo, as well as you see one of the cousins of Stitch. It's been so long since I watched the Lilo and Stitch TV series that would used to be on Disney Channel, as well as the Lilo and Stitch 2, or Leroy and Stitch. I forget her name, but she's well known. She's popped up in the show before, and so we gotta get a teaser of her live action look. So a little oh, there she is. But We also, one of other big news as far as Marvel related, we did get a little of a teaser that was dropped where Hugh Jackman, the actor of Wolverine, showed up and he said, "Hey D23," and basically him and Ryan Reynolds played a skit where Deadpool was holding was basically holding Hugh Jackman hostage to make an announcement to D23 and the Marvel, where he was like, "Hey Kevin Feige, if you guys ever need someone to, if you ever need some more actors to appear in Avengers Doomsday, then I would love to join the cast, and I can maybe even convince Ryan Reynolds." So it feels like they're teasing to the fans that Deadpool and Wolverine will make some sort of appearance in will make some sort of appearance in Avengers Doomsday, because that's now 2 jokes they've done with Deadpool involving his character showing up in the movie, even though the casting chair announcement and everything else would suggest otherwise. But the other big news was we finally got our first logo for the up-and-coming X-Men movie, as well as got some cast announcements as our official cast. Well, this isn't the full cast because there are still some characters that are very important to the X-Men that we haven't gotten anything. But the characters that have been confirmed so far with their actors are Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. As we know, she was in, for spoiler alert, she was in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So she's coming back, of course, to play as Jean Grey. We got Kit Connor will be playing as Cyclops. Christopher Abbott will be Professor Charles Xavier, Professor X in the wheelchair. Samara Weaving is going to be Emma Frost. Indy Navarrete is going to be playing Rogue. Maya Boyd will be playing Storm. And Adam Driver, someone that we have talked about, has been rumored around for playing a villain role in this up-and-coming X-Men movie. As first what was seen as possibly Magneto, he will be playing as Nathaniel Milbury, aka Mr. Sinister, in the X-Men universe. So I think that has our confirmation of who the villain is going to be of the movie. But we still, there's no way that they're going to do an X-Men movie without no Beast or Magneto. So those are definitely some that are still holding out on, like, trying to keep it a secret, hush hush. But for the time being, these are the actors we do have confirmed. And so far, I mean, I don't think there's really a single person who's a miss. Most of these people are well known. Sadie Sink, she's from Stranger Things. Kit Connor, oh Lord, I'm trying to think what movies he's been in. Let me see if I could just pull it up for you guys here. Kit Connor. Sorry about that. That was just a little disconnection. He was in Heartstopper, but yeah, you might recognize his face. He's been in stuff before. I can't think of Heartstopper. I know I've heard of that one, but that's who's going to be our Cyclops. Christopher Abbott, his most recent movie he was in was Wolfman. He played the dad in that movie. Samara Weaving, you should remember her. She's been in Ready or Not. She was in Scream 5, if I'm correct. Then we got Indy Navarrete. She was just recently from Obsession. Adam Driver is Adam Driver. He was Kylo Ren in the Star Wars movies. He's been in a lot, but the only cast member here who's honestly a newcomer is Maya Boyd, as she has, when you look her up on IMDb, she has pretty much only one project to her name, and it's a small project. So I'm glad that at least Marvel is, because all these people, they had to audition for their roles to prove that they could play these characters. And I trust the casting. I feel like, as far as I'm concerned, Marvel has been pretty good when it comes to casting for their Marvel characters and cast. And I think they haven't missed. The only times I would say they've missed is when they waste an actor, like, say, Mahershala Ali in the Blade situation, or when they cast a big name actor for such a small role that makes you be like, really, that's who you casted them as? Like, that makes no sense, Marvel. But again, for the most part, they've been pretty good. So I trust their castings of everyone here, and I especially trust who they got as Maya Boyd as Storm, even though she's new, it seems, to the big acting scene. I trust that they saw something really good in her audition, and that she's going to play a good Storm. So I'm excited for that. But again, we got pretty much our main, a pretty good chunk of our main starting cast of the future X-Men movie. Let me know down below. Are you excited for this up and coming X-Men film in the MCU? But our last news here was we did over the weekend get some sad news involving an actor passing away, and that was actress Hayden Panettiere, who passed away at 36. She was a very well-known actress. She was in a lot of roles. She was, as you can even see from Rotten Tomatoes, she played in Heroes, Scream 4, Bring It On. She's been a live-action actor. She's also been a voice actor. She was in Nashville. Um, she voiced a lot of characters, as you can see from some of these images here. She was in A Bug's Life as the princess from there. You see her role in Scream, Nashville, Heroes. She was an Ice Princess. She was in the video game Until Dawn. She was, of course, as we talked about, Bring It On. She was in Alpha and Omega. And last but not least, she was also in the video game Kingdom Hearts. So again, very well-known actress and voice actress who is sadly gone. And you can see she's had a role in a lot of areas, both movies and video games. And even Jeff Keighley, very well-known figurehead of the video game community, he made a post about it with a kind of teary-eyed emoji. What a sad end to such a beautiful Kingdom Hearts weekend. Actress Hayden Panettiere, the voice of Carrie, has passed away at age 36. R.I.P. But yeah, so as you can see, oh, and that's right. Wow, I totally forgot about that. Oh, dang, that hurts. I forgot that Michelle Trachtenberg passed away too. Dang, so we lost both actresses of Ice Princess gone. Dang. And just 36, that's so young. That is so young to leave this world, but my prayers go out to the family, gone too soon. And at one hand, I hope we find out what occurred, because that just seems so young for her to go out, to be gone. So, yeah, exactly. It is sad. It's sad to lose a face like this that has had, like I said, again, has had a role both for video games as a voice actress, as well as had roles in a lot of live action movies. And again, even I just got reminded that her co-star had passed away before her from Ice Princess. So that's crazy. But again, like I said, my prayers go out to the family. And again, it sucks to be hearing that, but still, one thing I can say for sure is that she has left an impression among a lot of people who have grown up with the projects that she's been a part of. And so you cannot take away from her career that she has left an impression. And so she definitely has a legacy when it comes to that. And again, like I said, prayers going out to the family, and hey, she's with the Father now. But we're going to go and move on and keep it pushing here, as we're going to go and carry to our football/sports section. As this is going to kind of start off with us here, we're going to go and talk about Eric Bieniemy. We talked about him briefly before, where, if you guys remember, he was originally the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, and then he kind of backed away from the Chiefs, kind of was taking a hiatus, but then officially was coming back to play for the coach for the Chiefs again this year. But then we heard the tragic news about his wife being shot allegedly by their son in their Virginia home, where, of course, we've been getting little tidbit updates as far as the status of his wife, and thankfully we did get a new update where he said Tuesday that his wife Mia is on track to make a full recovery after she was allegedly shot by the couple's son last month in the family's home in Virginia. So I'm ecstatic and happy to hear that she is looking to be making a full recovery. Again, when I broke the news about this was something very tragic to hear, because similar to when we talked about Calais Campbell and his family situation, both Eric Bieniemy and the Campbell family, like, to have someone close to you get hurt like this, and it's someone in your own family that caused that hurt, I know that it's got to just take such a mental toll. And from what I've heard, even when the situation happened, this man was still showing up to training camp, still showing up to practice, to coach the team. So, I mean, he showed absolute resilience in continuing to do his work and trying to coach as best as he can with all of this on his mind. But again, I'm just happy for the Bieniemy family that she's basically recovering well, and I'm hoping that they figure out what happened, especially when it comes to the son, because I mean, I know that's not our information. I know that's not really our business to really dive into, but it's just like, it's something like that where I'm like, man, you just want to know, because it's like, man, that's just like, that's your own son. So again, it's allegedly, so we don't even know what the full story is of that. If we find out, we'll talk about it, but at the same time, I won't be surprised if we don't ever find out about it. But again, I'm just glad that she's having a great road to recovery. And hey, congratulations to Bieniemy family for this revelation. And hey, it just shows anything's possible. Next up, moving on here, we do have some injury news we got to talk about. We sadly got announced by Ian Rappaport and Mike Garafolo that the rookie star receiver that the New Orleans Saints had drafted in Jordan Tyson is expected to miss 2 months due to a hamstring injury that occurred during practice. And this, after I saw this news, this is a blow to the New Orleans Saints team, because this was a guy that was sounding like he was looking really good in training camp. He was really developing into a guy that was going to be a possible number one receiver, possible number two receiver. Basically, whether he was going to be the number one or two receiver, he was going to pair up nicely with Chris Olave. And this was a guy that was having everyone look at the Saints and be like, this is a team that could maybe be a wild card team in the playoffs if everything goes well. Especially, this could be a step in the right direction to help help Tyler Shuck make another leap in development. And now they're going to be missing Jordan Tyson for 2 months, which the speculation is that could be at least 4 games for the Saints. And yeah, now that has a lot of people, even myself, very skeptical now if the Saints are going to still be able to look like a good playoff team now that they don't have their star young receiver. But again, it sucks to see that news, and I'm praying for a swift recovery with that, because a hamstring injury, especially at that young age, it's tough. And then and even as I've watched videos and stuff, a hamstring injury ain't just something you come back from 100%. So even when he's healthy, it's like, then there's the case of, is he going to be able to play at 100% and be able to be that guy again? That kind of stuff can change you. But hey, again, anything's possible. We'll be looking for that swift recovery. And if we get any positive news as far as for Jordan Tyson, we will definitely keep you posted. Next up here, as far as more injuries go, we got it reported that during joint practice for the Chargers and the 49ers, center Tyler Badaz, who did sign a 3-year, $30 million contract with the Chargers during the offseason as a free agent, was sadly carted off at practice today during a joint session. When I was looking this up, clips have been posted of people being able to record the injury. I'm not going to show that to you guys because I did watch it, and it's like, it's not the worst injury out there, but it's definitely still an injury that you're like, ooh, you could tell that it hurt. And it even hit kind of close home to me, because it involved during the joint practice, one of the defenders on the 49ers, I guess I think it was one of the defenders on the 49ers had fallen over and fell on his, I want to say that he fell on his knee, and that would cause the injury. And I was like, oh, because I have so much visceral memories of when I was in football in high school, and we were running a practice with the teammates and stuff, and I was on the defense. I'm running the play and stuff. Everything's going normal, and I just feel this sharp pain in my left knee, and I'm just on the ground where I feel like I can't put any pressure on it. I'm just yeah. So this hits home. This hits close to home for me as a guy who suffered a torn MCL in my past. Like, it's like, man, I feel for this guy to suffer an injury like that. And again, this is a big hit for this Chargers team, considering that this is a team that suffered so many injuries with their offensive line last year, resulting in Justin Herbert getting sacked a bunch of times. Every time he took a snap and dropped back, someone was already in his face, because that O-line was it was injured. There was no one there to that was a veteran or someone who was actually good to keep him protected. So this is a big hit, and now it's going to leave that question up there of what will the Chargers do to try to move forward. We haven't gotten any updates on the severity of his injury, but again, it's like, it sucks to hear that. So it's similar to what we've said to previous players. My prayers are going out to him for a swift recovery, and that hopefully he's able to get back on the field as soon as possible for the Chargers team. Next up here, another kind of injury note being reported is with the 49ers side, where there's been reports about Christian McCaffrey, the star running back, experiencing some tightness, where there's been some speculation and rumors going around where some people think he is experiencing the tightness. Others think that this could be a case of that he's looking for a new contract extension, considering that Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and Jahmyr Gibbs all received these big contract extensions, becoming some of the highest paid running backs. And some people think that maybe Christian McCaffrey is like, hold up a second, I've done more than some of these guys in my tenure. I deserve a contract extension just as big as theirs, if not bigger. And so some people think he's maybe holding out, but Kyle Shanahan reported that even though Christian McCaffrey has been missing days of practice, he's saying they have no reason to believe that he's missing practice intentionally because of a contract reason. So I'm going to trust Kyle Shanahan on that. We'll have to see for sure. We'll keep updates as frequent as possible. If something changes, if it is revealed that this is a contract extension situation or if this is muscle tightness, but again, for fantasy owners or even just the 49ers as a whole, this could definitely change your outlook if you did draft McCaffrey on your team or were expecting to draft them. Now you kind of have to be like raising an eyebrow and like, kind of take a few steps back to be like, okay, let's sit back and wait to see if there's more news about him being healthy. Moving on here, we're going to talk about, I would know we keep mentioning this guy's name, but how could I not mention it? This is a big thing that could be happening to change the NFC. And for a second time this summer, we had Aaron Donald get listed on another transaction wire for the NFL, where he was reported working out with the Los Angeles Rams again, where there was even footage this time showing him doing the drills and stuff. And that's 2 weeks now, people. 2 weeks that he has shown up to train with the Rams. It's like at this point, we just need to be getting the news that he's ready to suit up again. It feels like at this point, 1 week was one thing. 2 weeks, it's like, okay, wait a minute, something's going on here. Something's happening. All right, you can't fool me anymore. But again, we gotta stay humble. We can't just go assuming stuff, but there's definitely like those eyebrows raised as far as what is the future with Aaron Donald and if he will be coming out of retirement to play for the Rams. And again, like I said, I think I've reached this point where I'm still like, okay, he could still say I'm not going to do it. But for the most part, I think I'm pretty sold on the idea that Aaron Donald will be coming out of retirement to return and play for the Rams and be on that defensive line along with Myles Garrett. And again, like I've said in previous episodes, oh Lord, offensive lines are going to be in trouble. But moving on to signings, we talked about at the beginning of this episode here. I see he's coming back. Los Angeles in the house. Woo, woo. I see you guys. Some Los Angeles representation up in here. I know one of you is a Los Angeles Rams fan, so I know you got to be excited to be seeing Aaron Donald possibly coming back. But I got to agree with you too. I do believe Aaron Donald's coming back, because you don't just show up to not one but two training sessions to work out with the Rams if you aren't feeling more and more confident in making a return to the team. So I do think Aaron Donald's going to come back. And again, that at that point, just go and crown the Rams Super Bowl champions, because I don't know how anybody's going to stop that defense. Oh, and again, I keep saying that my Packers got to play them on Thanksgiving Eve, and I'm not looking forward to that. Oh, boy. But moving on to the defensive side of things, we did get a signing where the Cowboys have signed two-time Super Bowl champion Von Miller to the squad on a 1-year, $5.5 million deal with a possible max value of $7.5 million. And wow, so he's staying in the NFC East. I didn't know what was going on because he played for the Commanders last year. He was pretty solid with them. Then they didn't bring him back. We didn't know where he was going to go. Broncos fans were saying, hey, maybe he could come back and play for us. There was all kinds of rumors, and he looks like he's staying in the NFC East to play for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys on that team. And a lot of people have been talking about how this is kind of a full circle moment because that's where his football career started in college, where he played for Texas A&M, and now he's returning to Texas to play for the Cowboys, a team that he's wanted to play for at a young age. And we know where his career started. He won a Super Bowl with the Broncos and Peyton Manning when they beat the Panthers. And then he won a Super Bowl with the Rams and Aaron Donald when they traded for Matthew Stafford and went on that Super Bowl run. So this is the guy that has that talent. And he's someone who has said in multiple interviews, he feels like he's a man who can roll right off the couch and get you 9 sacks get you 9 sacks in a season. So I think this is I hate to say it, I think this is a good pickup for this Cowboys team. And as much as I love to hate on the Cowboys, that I think they have been making some solid moves this offseason. Their offense was already really good last year. It was just that everybody talked about how bad their defense was, how they were one of the worst defenses in the league, allowing all those points from other offenses. So they're trying their best to bolster a defense. So I gotta give props. And Von Miller, even though he's not the same guy he used to be, he is a man who has proven he can still get sacks and he can still get some pressure on a quarterback. Even though I know ESPN just keeps loving to push this narrative about Max Crosby getting traded to the Cowboys, I'm one of those people that is like, y'all need to stop. ESPN, y'all need to stop trying to push this narrative, because I even said this in one of the comments on their YouTube video where I'm like, man, Max Crosby is the anti-Micah Parsons, where Micah Parsons gave y'all all the proof I feel possible to show that there was no possible chance a resolution was going to be resolved involving him staying with Dallas. But every ESPN was like, oh no, this isn't anything. This is nothing. He's gonna get a new contract at the Cowboys. He's gonna sign with them. He's not going anywhere. And then guess what? Jerry Jones sent him over here to Green Bay. Thanks again, Jerry Jones. But so everybody was like, it's not gonna happen. He's not gonna go he's not gonna get traded, even though all the signs were clearly there. And then you got Max Crosby, that ever since the Ravens trade fell apart, has made it very, in my opinion, very clear, and even the Raiders have made it very clear, they have no intentions on sending him away. And yet, ESPN can't seem to get that through their head that they don't intend on getting rid of him. So it's funny. I find that kind of weird how the roles have reversed, where Parsons was obvious he was leaving, but they didn't want to admit it. And then Max Crosby, I think it's pretty obvious he isn't leaving, but they don't want to admit that either. But again, I guess that's just how news has to work. They have to stay with the any storyline to keep them the eyes tuning in. You know, they got to keep people viewing and watching them. But again, just a little update there that the Cowboys and who they have signed recently. That be me, had 9 sacks. Yeah, good for the Cowgirls. May not be good for him. A team is not one man. That is very true. Football is a team sport, and one man can't change that. But like I said, listen, I'm with you. I love to hate on the Cowboys. I really do. I love to make fun of them because they always, every single year, what's the one thing you hear a Cowboys fan say? And that is, this is our year. We're going to the Super Bowl. And then we all sit back and watch as they blow a lead or they go to the playoffs and lose in the first round. And we're like, what'd you expect? You guys this ain't the 90s no more. They're a team that's stuck in the 90s. Let's be real. But as much as I love to joke and talk bad about the Cowboys, I can't deny that other than Von Miller, they have made some big moves to try to fix that defense. They got a new defensive coordinator, one who's been highly sought out from the Eagles. They got that Caleb Downs kid and Malachi Lawrence from the draft, who were both seen as really good defensive players. They have Quinnen Williams from the Jets, a really good defensive tackle who they just gave an extension to. And then they got Kenny Clark, another good defensive tackle. The only piece I'm like, everybody keeps glazing, but as a Packers fan, I know enough experience to tell you he's not that good, is Rashawn Gary that they got in a trade with us, where everyone was like, oh, and everybody loves to talk about Rashawn Gary and how like, oh yeah, this is a good addition to that defense. this is good. And us Packer fans are like, we were about to let him walk. We were going to let that guy walk because of how bad he played last year. And you guys were dumb enough to trade us some picks for him. Thanks a lot, Cowboys. But again, still, ignoring Rashawn Gary, other than that, the Cowboys, I think, have been making some decent moves. So I can't deny they're making moves. But to add to your quickly before we go to the next news here, to add to your little comment about how one man isn't a team, we've also seen teams make a bunch of moves in the offseason, and it doesn't turn out. The Jets. The Jets, they are the most painfully obvious of teams that have always made moves in the offseason where you'll sit back and be like, that's some good moves. They signed a lot of people, and it doesn't amount to anything. So if there's anybody to prove to you that sometimes even just signing a whole bunch of new people doesn't always fix things, the Jets can easily tell you that. But moving on here to another signing, one that kind of caught me off guard. It was reported that the Colts have signed a 6-time Pro Bowler Keenan Allen to a 1-year deal up to $8.32 million. And yeah, this was a surprise. I thought he was honestly going to end his career as a Los Angeles Charger. That's where he started his career out with. He played with Justin Herbert during the early years of the quarterback's career, and then he went on to play with the Chicago Bears in Caleb Williams' first year. Then he went back to the Los Angeles Chargers. So I thought for sure he was going to stick around, and the Chargers didn't bring him back. The Chargers didn't bring him back, so now he's taking his talents over to Indianapolis, and I think this is a solid move. Cowboys still the richest team in the league. Well, yeah, the Cowboys still the richest team in the league because of everything they did in the 90s and how popular they got, as well as because, listen, you can say everything you want to say about Jerry Jones, including myself, about how some people feel he needs to retire as the owner and needs to stop. One thing you cannot take away from that old man is he knows how to make money. And he knows how to keep the Cowboys in the headlines one way or another with his comments. So he knows how to keep that team relevant. That's one thing for sure. And that is definitely why that Cowboys team has stayed as rich as they have been. But moving back to the Colts news with Keenan Allen, I think this was a smart move by the team because considering that they lost Michael Pittman in a trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I still think that's going to really help that Steelers offense be able to get some groundwork moving. But they lost Michael Pittman in a trade. Alec Pierce, someone they gave a humongous contract to, he's suffered an injury that could take him out of a couple games. So that left them really with not that many receivers. So Josh Downs, while a good receiver, not someone who could just carry a team. So it makes sense they would go out there to go and sign a veteran receiver to go and add to that team. And even as you saw in the post here says, he's reuniting with Shane Steichen, someone who was part of that Chargers team when Keenan Allen was there. So Keenan Allen is going to have some familiarity with the Steichen type of offense. So we'll definitely have to see how that turns out there as far as that signing. Again, I think that this was a smart signing, and I think Keenan Allen is a very reliable receiver. So that should hopefully help Daniel Jones and the Colts out. Next up here for another signing, the New York Giants have officially signed running back Najee Harris to a 1-year deal. And on top of that, with them signing Najee Harris, they released veteran wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. So just a little of an update because last we heard, you remember Najee Harris was with the Steelers. Then he was going to the Chargers. Everyone was excited about how that run game was going to look with Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. Then sadly, Najee Harris suffered an injury that took him out for the entire season. So we never got a chance to witness that 1-2 punch that the Chargers were going to go for. And the Chargers clearly were like not, after they saw how good Omarion Hampton was, and even how decent Kamani Vidal was, they just didn't feel like re-signing Najee Harris, so they let him walk, and now the Giants are picking him up. So there's a pretty packed, there's a very packed running back room going on here with New York. So they're definitely going to have to figure out who's going to be their backup running back to Cam Skattebo on that team. But I'll say this, even though this is a guy that sadly has injury history, I won't deny that Najee Harris, I think when he is healthy, he's a good running back. So I think that if he's able to outshine all the other running backs that are there on that team, I think he could easily become the backup and be a solid 1-2 punch with Cam on that that Giants offense. But moving on here, we're going to go and talk about a little bit of the preseason, as we did get finished with week 1, and we had a lot of games, some good games, some blowouts, some bad games. But with some of the games, there were some standouts that we got to at least talk about. And I kind of want to just highlight some of those players that really stood out to me. And let's go. Well, first off, to start off here, I want to talk about the Cardinals-Raiders game. Of course, when you look at these scores, I'm going to just give you a disclaimer. You don't have to really pay too much attention to them because, in all honesty, these scores are coming from preseason. These are the backups, and then the backups playing. See, there's only like maybe a few plays that the starters are in to maybe get their feet wet and get familiar with the game of football. So it's nothing. These scores are nothing really to be like, oh, they just beat them by that many points. Or, oh, they just beat them by that. Don't take too much. But still, while though you don't want to pay attention to the points, you still want to pay attention to the players. And I will say, there have been players that have stood out in some of these games. And in that Cardinals-Raiders game, Fernando Mendoza, he was pretty solid. I will not lie. He played pretty good for the few snaps he was in for. He played efficiently. He kept the ball safe and protected. There was a few moments he struggled, but again, he's a rookie. What do you expect? But overall, he played pretty good. It does have some Raiders fans already saying, put Fernando Mendoza in, which I'm like, no, that's the problem with the league right now in young quarterbacks. We are too quick to push them into the fire and think they're going to be able to just work, and it doesn't always work. We got to let them develop. So hold off. As good as he played, or as solid as he played, this is preseason. We can't just go jumping conclusions here. But again, he played really good. Mike Washington, the running back that the Raiders drafted in the second round, if I'm correct, he had a really good game too. And again, it pushes that narrative that I've been saying when I saw that draft, that the Raiders are going to have a crazy good run game with Ashton Genty and Mike Washington Jr. because he was going off in that preseason game. That speed, that breakout speed he had was looking really good. And yeah, once the Raiders get everything figured out, I think they got a good 1-2 punch in that running back room that will definitely get some defenses a little shaken up and confused. But on the Cardinals side, sadly, even though we weren't able to see Carson Beck play due to him having a rib injury that had the Cardinals wanting to be safe with him, so we weren't able to watch him play, but we were able to watch Jeremiah Love, the number 3 pick in the draft, play, and he went off. When you watched him, everybody was comparing him to, everyone was basically comparing him to a young Adrian Peterson with how hard his hits were and stuff. And as you can see, Mike Washington Jr., he had 6 carries for 63 yards. So pretty good for a rookie in a preseason game. But Jeremiah Love, he had 11 carries for 58 yards. And there lies kind of the problem, because as much as there's got to be a lot of praise to give to Jeremiah Love and how well he was in that preseason game, sadly after that game, he now is suffering a high ankle sprain injury. And again, this pushes that narrative of maybe why it's not always the best to play your starters in a preseason game, especially if your starter is going to be carrying the ball 11 times in a preseason game. Like, what are we doing? It's preseason. He should not be carrying the ball that many times, Arizona. No wonder why he suffered an injury. Like, come on now. That's not smart. You didn't play that smart. So disappointing to see that he's now suffering an injury that's gonna now, as they've reported with an update, will hold him out for the rest of preseason. Again, it's just like, oh man, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. That's a very tight rope to be walking. Rich is one thing, skill is another. That's true. That is true. Another player that I want to highlight from here. Let me see from these games. Another one I got to highlight. Now, if we're talking defensively, Sonny Styles for the Commanders, he played decent. I wouldn't say there was anything crazy to talk about, but for the most part, he played pretty good for the Commanders in that preseason game. Same with Caleb Downs and the Cowboys. He had some good plays. Nothing like crazy good. Like, there's nothing I would say with both of them that was like, oh my goodness, they were crazy. Like, whoa, they were good. They were pretty solid, so we'll have to keep seeing more from them, but pretty good. Bills, oh man, the Josh Allen, DJ Moore connection, they look good. DJ Moore being traded from the Bears over to the Bills, there was questions like, okay, is he going to be good? Is he going to be the guy? I think he could possibly be the guy because he looked really solid in his few little snaps with Josh Allen, where he looked like a very reliable guy. So that connection could be dangerous. But the last player I want to highlight was one I did talk about on this show before, someone that I wasn't very positive about in the Rams drafting him, and that was quarterback Ty Simpson. Yes, Ty Simpson had a game in the preseason against the Chiefs where he went 21 for 25, 190 passing yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. Yeah, he was good. To say he was good is an understatement. He played solid football in that preseason game, and what can I say? What can I say? He was the best rookie quarterback in that first week of preseason. He kept the ball safe. He looked very comfortable. He works well in that Rams offense. And that's also just kind of a praise to how good the Rams are in their coaching as far as how they play offensively. But again, he played good. And so far from that first game, I'm not going to just instantly go saying like, oh yeah, this was good. I can't deny that. It's like he played good football, and I might have to take back my harsh criticism of the Rams drafting a quarterback with one of their first round draft picks, because it looks like he could actually be a guy that, in case something happens to Stafford, like an injury, or even if he decides to retire next year, Ty Simpson looks like he could be ready by that time to be a starter. But I'm not going to just go making assumptions. I don't want to do that. But again, he looked good. But now I want to talk about my Packers here for a second. And as you saw in my description, and as I said before, there is some drama, not serious, well, kind of serious and kind of small drama, where one of the Packers cornerbacks, Keyshawn Nixon, has been the talk of the town, where he's been getting less reps in practice, and the rookie that the Packers drafted in the second round in Brandon Cisse has been getting more time with the ones. And this has caused a lot of discussion, especially after during preseason where the Packers played the Steelers. I'm not gonna play the audio here. I'm gonna have to mute it. But as you're gonna see here, Keyshawn Nixon was very much in the talks, because during the Steelers-Packers game, as you're gonna see, a receiver gets it. You see Keyshawn right there just standing looking dumb. And look at this. Look, I hope this video doesn't get taken down, but look, you see he makes the tackle, misses, just stands there, and it was a bad play. It was a bad play by Keyshawn, and he's not a rookie. You are a veteran. You are a veteran cornerback. Tackle the guy. That is what football is. Tackle him. And we have had too many moments watching this man miss tackles or just stand there looking like a deer in headlights. And it's like, man, you need to pick your game up, because if you're gonna be making all the claims you've been making, you need to show it, and you have not shown it to anyone. And the drama is stemming from where after it was being shown that he's playing less with the starters and more with the backups, he said this: I guess I'm being punished right now, I guess. I don't know. I don't really worry about what I'm running in camp, the 1s and 2s. I just keep my process and compete. Now, some people might say that's not really a bad statement. That's just him saying, I don't care that I'm playing with the starters or if I'm playing with the backups. Well, there was also another statement he made where he basically to summarize it, said, I am basically saying I am the starter. I'm not worried about my job. even though Matt LaFleur has said he has came out with statements talking about how they need players who are going to tackle and show effort. Kind of to some Packers fans feeling like taking jabs at Keyshawn Nixon, where the drama is now coming more so after he made that statement. We got it 10 hours ago. Matt LaFleur talked about it with Ryan Wood, saying he loves making where this is from the head coach saying this about Keyshawn Nixon. He says he loves making a headline, doesn't he? The way I look at it is this. I guess our whole team is being punished because everybody is in competition. And it's like, whoa. Matt LaFleur is basically giving it to Keyshawn like, oh, so we want to get in the headlines now. You want to talk about how you're being punished. Well, let me tell you something, man. Everyone's being punished because we need to be playing at our best to be competitors for this Super Bowl with this roster. So this isn't all about you. It's like there's some drama, people. There is definitely some drama, and I'm like... my eyebrows raising. Now, some of you might be sitting back and being like, well, I'm not a football guy. What's the big deal with this Keyshawn person? Why do Packers fans, including yourself, seem to not like him? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm going to just give you a brief history before we close the show out. Keyshawn Nixon, when he came to the team, he was a cornerback, but his main position for us was a kick returner. The ball would be kicked, he would get the ball, and he would go and return it for us to get some yards. He was a really good kick returner. People loved him. Packers loved him in that position. He was good at that. But then he had to go and open his mouth, talk to the Packers organization, and tell them, I don't want to be a kick returner. I'm getting hit too much. I'm too good to be a kick returner. I want to be the team's number one cornerback. And so the Packers let him have it. They said, okay, fine. So they took him away from being the kick returner, and they put him as cornerback 1 for the 2024, more so 2025 season. That's honestly, I feel like why our kick return hasn't been as good, because we're trying to find a new guy to be that kick returner, because Keyshawn Nixon was good at that. But again, so he made that statement. He became the starting cornerback. And so you would think, okay, if you're going to make such noise about it, you should be really good, right? No, he wasn't good, sadly, folks. He was pretty bad, really bad. He showed that he just didn't show that effort. You would see receivers get these catches, and he would maybe make one tackle, get spun off, and then he doesn't go chasing after him. He'll just stand there. You'll see times where literally last year was the worst of it, where you would see him. You see one of the Bears games. DeAndre Swift is about to run in for a touchdown. What does Keyshawn Nixon do? He sees DeAndre Swift coming his way and jumps out of the way. He avoids tackling the running back, and DeAndre Swift is able to get a touchdown. That is not how you play your position, man. You have to tackle. You have to do everything in your power to stop any points from being made, so then your team can win. And in that same game, we sadly lost to the Bears. And this is in the playoff game. We're talking regular season. So again, it's just like, you gotta you gotta tackle, man. You have to tackle. And again, he's not shown that effort. And I think it should already tell you how bad the cornerback situation has been if a rookie, and no offense, because he has been looking really good, but a rookie is now the guy who is looking to take the number one cornerback spot. That just shows you how weak our cornerback position is. And then to even add more to it, there has been reports that Keyshawn Nixon has seemingly been having some thoughts about wanting to hold out during training camp so he could get a new extension. And that has every Packers fan raising their eyebrow like, you're joking, right? You're not serious. You think you deserve a contract extension after last year's fiasco? After how bad you were at your position? No, you don't deserve a contract extension. The best you deserve is getting traded away, but there's no team that's going to be looking to trade you, because it just got reported by Easton Butler that teams are calling up the Packers about Carrington Valentine on his availability to maybe get in a trade. So, buddy, no one wants you. The Packers fans don't want you. Teams are calling for a cornerback, and they ain't calling for you. So, yeah, it's like, man, that's the problem. Keyshawn Nixon, he was really solid as a kick returner, and he started to get this ego about him like he was all that, and he hasn't been able to prove he's all that. And so that's where I think a lot of Packers fans have turned on him so aggressively, because it's like, if you are going to talk all this talk about that you deserve a contract extension, talk about you're too good to be a kick returner and need to be a cornerback, then prove it. And you have not proven it. So again, it's like, it's like, we won't miss you, man. We really won't. If you're gone, you're gone. You are a good depth piece, but not a good starter. So just wanted to talk about that. It's a little bit of some controversy going on there as far as there's clearly some sort of divide going on between Keyshawn Nixon and even Matt LaFleur, and where they stand on the value of his play with the Green Bay Packers. So that is going to wrap up our show for tonight. I know we went a little bit over the time, but we just wanted to break down that last bit of news. And as always, I'm always glad to just be going on to this show. Again, bringing this news to you guys. It's always fun to come here. And again, I want to just remind you, keep on the lookout. Me and my cousin, we're working towards trying to be able to work on that live episode, so that we can start bringing in more guests. And I've been talking to more people. I'm not going to go spoiling, especially if that person is watching this episode right now, but I might be having a guest, someone who may or may not be working in the field that we talk about. So you just got to be on the lookout for it. It's exciting stuff. So again, keeping out, because I will be making those announcements to basically let you know that, hey, we got a guest episode. So again, as always, we are live 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, as always, love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Peace.